Assalamu alaikum, dear audience. I hope you all are doing well. So, I'm Lamia Rahman Rosa, your head of branding from English Olympiad. So, today we will be talking about mental health and public speaking. So, first of all, why mental health is so important and why public speaking is important at the same time. Because if we cannot overcome our stage fright, we see that sometimes we feel very anxious that we cannot face the world, right? That is the only reason we planned this show for you guys only, and that is mental health and public speaking enigma. With that being said, our EO started its journey, and it's been really long since we are here, from a campus ambassador to the promotions that has been happening since the last few years. It's overwhelming. So I hope you all will be joining with us today, and we will have a little chit chat session where we will ask one of our experts how to do all these public speaking sessions. So let's see who will be joining with us today. So we have none other than Ashik Mahmood Chaudhry Bhaiya, one of the most amazing, humble, and legendary public speaker, an amazing manner, as well as an amazing executive board. So Bhaiya, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Can you guys hear me properly
We
though?
are fine.
All right.
So
Uh,
I hope we will have our audience and
all right. I'm just glad to be
yeah, we
here.
can hear you.
Yeah. I'm just glad to be here amongst you guys, and I'm glad that you guys are still doing some work during this quarantine period and coming up with topics that are very important to be discussed during during this current scenario that's been going on these days. So yeah, appreciate it.
So Bhaiya, first of all, how are you dealing with this pandemic situation?
I'm the wrong guy to ask that. I binge watched like most of the Netflix shows within the first month, and I ran out of it. Then I started going back to old shows like House and stuff, and I'm almost at the end of that as well. I've read three books so far, and I cooked a little, tried to cook a little, and these days the only thing I will be talking about that vigorously as well. The only thing that I'm trying to do these days is to stay away from the news as much as possible, because I believe that the news and the social media and everything that are being posted over there, it's harming, at least personally, me and my mental health quite a bit. That's why I'm trying to stay away from it, and I believe that staying away for a week or so is not gonna get us so deprived of the things. So, and I think it's all right to just take a break from all this.
That's amazing. But Bhaiya, I don't know how you do this, but when it comes to us, I mean, there are people who loves gossip. I mean, if there is negativity, they just always feel overwhelmed by the negative news. I mean, so if you have to say anything for those people who often shares and bombards their timeline with negative news and negative updates, so what will be your say on that?
Right, good question. It's not that I don't gossip. I have a close bunch that we do gossip with, but my mode of communication is still remains to be on call instead of just typing. So, and I do get it that social media and the fact that everything, it's just in your hands, inside your palms. You can just send whatever you want to, you can just share whatever you want to, and we are not being very responsible these days as well. But my my suggestion is just be responsible as much as possible, because you're not only probably just harming yourself, you're probably harming someone else's mental health in doing so as well. So there is nothing, to be very honest, you can do other than being responsible in these scenarios, because uh, at the end of the day it's a personal choice. At the end of the day it's a personal choice who you're talking about, what you're covering, whatever you're talking about. But what I personally do is, or what I personally try to implement in my life and how I deal with things are, I try to see that, if it's going to affect me or my people close to me, if it's going to affect me or them, that means it should be affecting someone else as well. So if it affects you, just put yourself in those people's shoes. If it affects you, that means probably it's going to affect them, right? So would you try to so in my opinion, just stay away from it. If it's affecting you, just before posting something, before hearing it, before talking about it, just know that after reading that, if it had affected you or your thought process, if it had, unless it's really 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 necessary, then I would say just stay away from it.
Thank you so much, Bhaya. So, for the dear audience, please keep the comments rolling. If you have any questions to ask, like anything regarding public speaking or Model United Nations, you guys are definitely, can bombard the comment section below, and you can ask literally anything. So, Bhaya, on our show, our first question for you is, when did you plan that you'll adore the podium and the art of speaking?
Lamia, could you like ask the question again, because you are cutting?
Sure, Bhav. So, when did you plan that you will love the stage, adore the podium, and you will definitely join in the art of speaking?
All right. Uh, Good question. I haven't asked that to myself lately either. But I'll just go back to 2015. I was I just got done with my A levels. I did my O levels from Pakistan. I studied in a cadet college, and I did share some. I did have the like some exposure towards the like podium or and public speaking out there. But I was very nervous. My legs used to tremble. Those who have been under me in a committee, they know about it. I have shared this story as well. Uh, I remember I was not growing up. I was not as confident as I am today, speaking to people, approaching 500,000, 2,000. Little. There used to be a time then. My legs would shiver if I was asked by giving the given the podium that you have to talk for even 2 minutes in front of 10 people. So well, it all started, I would say, from joining Immune Club in North South University, and the I do hold a club dear to me, and I don't know why I filled out the form even today. I don't know. In fact, I do actually. Two of my friends, they got a form, and they asked me that we're gonna join a club, and if I was willing to. And I was willing to, not because I did not even do any research what MUN is, what they're going to do. If I had, probably I wouldn't get in the club at the first place. So I was like, then what's different? What's the main factor or the benefit of being in a club? And they were like, we'll get to gossip, we'll get to chill, and during the breaks we'll get to keep our bags. All right. So I don't know about the first two, but the third one was very, very important to me, because my classes used to start in the morning, and carrying the bag the entire day around the university was not very fun. So the fact that I could keep my bag safe somewhere inside a club room was enough for me. So I was like, all right. Uh, so I was like, I'm sold. I'll get to keep my bag and I'll get to roam around the uni. And that's how it started. And at that time, the president was, I don't know if any monitors are still on, but they should know if they have been doing MUNs in the current scenario. The Immune Club president at that time was Anaf Tamid. All right. So Anaf Bhai came up to me one day and he was like, do you realize that you are running shy and you're going away from something that you are uh, possibly good with? And then I was like, how could you even say that? You did not see me talk. But he basically did, because there used to be we used to held like a whole like mock MUNs where you get to talk, and just the simulation just amongst everyone. We used to do it inside the club room. Sometimes we used to do the auditorium and stuff. And at that time, I used to give opinions to the delegates beside me, but I never used to take the podium. I never used to take the podium, and I never used to talk. So one day I remember that sort of began with a sort of enmity. I'm not going to take the name. So that particular person, she was saying something that I do not agree with completely. But at the same time, I didn't have the courage to take the floor. I didn't have the courage to take the floor, but I knew that whatever she is saying is wrong. So that's exactly when one of my closest friends, he came up to me and he's like, whatever you just told me, just say it. Take the mic, say it. And I did. And it felt good. And that's when did my legs tremble? Yes, it did. Did I have a difficulty even to say the words that I just told to my friend? Yes, I did. But that day I realized that feeling applauded was something that I really, really liked. And being right is something that I really, really liked. So, and at the same time, winning that argument was something I really, really liked. So that's why these were the three things that kept me going, and I kept doing it. And I don't know. That's basically where the journey started. The journey is still going on. I won't be able to tell you where I actually when I actually fell in love with it, but it happened through a process. It happened through a process. It was not just giving speeches. It was not just meeting new people. It was everything combined. It was a package for me. It was so yeah.
Thank you so much, Bhaya. So we have these two people, Sakib Akash and then Arafat. They told that the Mun God and the Mun idol is here.
Like,
So that was
like
something.
that.
So it's really amazing to see that a lot of participants from English Olympiad also know the Mun idol and the Mun
Nothing,
God.
nothing.
So Bhaya, সেটা হচ্ছে যে there's this one question সেটা হচ্ছে যে did you have you know like stage fright, and যখন আপনি একটা ধরেন এরকম হয় like when it comes to MUNs or public speaking, একদিন একটা বাজে স্পিচ দিলে people are like আচ্ছা অনেক বাজে স্পিচ দিছে, so like people used to bully, তো ভাইয়া did you were you a victim of bullying when you gave a bad speech?
First of all, I never gave a bad speech. No, kidding, kidding, kidding. All right. Bullying was never an issue for me, but at the same time, I have chaired later on in my MUN days, and I have seen that people looking down at somebody just because their speech was not probably good enough. But what I have to tell for those people who are still struggling with speeches and public speaking, that you have nothing to fear. Even in your native language, you're supposed to struggle. You're supposed to struggle whenever you're given an impromptu topic. You're supposed to struggle to talk on behalf of it, let alone talk in front of a lot of people, right? So there's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing wrong about being wrong at times. What's wrong, in my opinion, and in my opinion only, is that you not acknowledging that you're wrong. The first thing that you need to acknowledge and to learn is it's a learning curve to know that you're wrong, and to work on it. You need to acknowledge it that you're wrong. So for all the people who are still struggling, my suggestion is that I won't say that it's easy to say that, I have heard people say it, that just ignore them, just don't do it. But on a personal level, if you ask me, then I'll just simply say that it's not easy to ignore them. They just keep haunting you in the middle of your sleep, and they just eat up all your confidence that you gather to give that one particular speech. But right when that happened and that didn't go the way you probably planned on a piece of paper and pen, uh, it might not go, it might not as go you, but the fact that you stood up, that shows that you have the courage to do it once. And in my opinion, if you have the courage to do it once, you have the courage to do it over and over and over and over again. But having said that, I'll just retract and go back to saying that, all the people who are doing it at the first place, I'm not going to even say that, don't do it to other people, don't do this is bad, this is affecting, because we all know it morally. That, again, I said something in the very beginning, that just be responsible whatever you're doing. You guys are entering an age that your consequences of your actions will start mattering. And that's why everything that you do, everything that you say, all your actions, all your words, they will start meaning something. You might think that they're not going to mean something, and you might will be that there will be times that you will be wrong, and there will be times you'll be goofing around, and it's all right because we are going to make a lot of mistakes. But the fact is, again, I'm going back to the very first thing that I wanted to talk about, that the fact is that if you are wrong, just know that you are wrong, and work from there. So if, again, we'll go back to your question, that, again, if you're saying that, how I cope up with it, or how I saw someone cope up with it. For my delegates, I try to be always there, and I would have some delegates to name as well. There were some delegates I had seen personally in my chairing days, that one of my, I'll just share a story. In fact, one of my most favorite Emion moments were, this particular delegate, he was a delegate under me for his 4 consecutive MUNs. And every time he used to just call the secretariat and used to go like, I want to be under him. And on the 4th one, I noticed him, because for the very first 3, he did not even give a single speech. But what he used to do is, he used to send chits, and his points were very, 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 very strong. So I used to go to him during the breaks, even via chats. I used to reply by saying that, you're saying whatever you're saying, just take the floor, say it. It's for a minute. Then he used to go like, Jay, bhaiya, I have stammering issues. And I have stammering issues, and I think that people are going to make fun of me. And it was his 4th MUN under me. And I was like, then why do you take it under me? Then it was like, to be very honest, for the first one, I got in this committee because my friends were there, and I like a girl, she's in the committee. That's why I chose this particular committee. I was like, okay, fair enough. What about the second time? Why did you call the secretary? He told me that he called the secretary and then chose the particular committee. Like, then uh, how did you why did you choose to be in my committee the second time? I suppose that it won't be big enough of a coincidence that the girl you like is still in the same committee. I was like, no. Then I was like, why? Well, you are very patient with me and used to write back to everything I said. I've done MUNs before, I didn't get the replies back. Like, okay, fair enough. Third one, fourth one. Fourth one, I remember doing something. I wrote a particular speech. I didn't mark on him or anything. I gave him the speech, and I stood beside him and I told him that your floor, as long as you take, do it. Nobody's gonna laugh. Nobody's gonna do anything. Just say it. And he did. He took 3 minutes to complete that particular thing, and he said it. And after saying it, he sat down, and later at the end of the second day, he came to me and he went like, he was almost in teary eyes and was like, nobody had tried to help me that way. I was like, you, and in fact, I'm still telling you that he did it all by himself. The courage was all along, it was there. He just needed a push. He just needed a push. Believe it or not, on his sixth MUN, I was present, but he was not in my committee at that time. He won the Outstanding Delegate Award. And that's the best achievement I would say as a chair I had. So, and you know what? There was one thing that I know, I kind of mentioned before, that he had stammering issues. Somehow that used to get reduced, if not entirely get, every time he used to talk with anger, every time he used to talk passionately, somehow he used to stammer less. And this guy used to go to Sunnydale. He is still in touch. He leaves me messages at time, but I'm sorry. There are times I don't go back to messages. But yeah, I actually do take pride in that. But I'll tell you this: that if that guy could do it, I think any one of you can. And because these days, what happened through social media is you guys have much more exposure towards English, through YouTube and stuff. You guys are much more. You're seeing, English series, English movies, English songs. So English is sort of becoming, if not, it won't be able to replace the first or the native language. But what's happening is, I don't call it the second language anymore. It's sort of 1.5 right now. If it's not second anymore, because it's much more accessible. A lot of people can know about it, talk about it, and talk in it and use it for their communication. So I suppose that the confidence, yeah, it's something that a lot of people are born with, and a lot of people are nurtured with. And I would say that it's not always having a lot of confidence that gets you through. Sometimes it's the perseverance, and at the same time being and talking the right things at the right moment that counts. So I would say that, just for me, for that particular guy that I just talked about, take the floor, give your first speech. Because for me personally, it was the first speech that made me love it at the first place. So give your first speech. That's my, just give your first speech.
Thank you so much, bhai. It was amazing. It just brought back a lot of memories. Like I remember, like when I started debating, I mean, I was a noob, and everybody used to believe me. It was NSU Podium 2014, and I had to debate with MLIS. So I don't know what I said, and but it was my first speech, and then it was back in 2013, and it made me so confident, so I could actually understand how it feels when you give your first speech. And yeah, I mean, for all the delegates like us, we always wanted to be in your committee, because it just feels that you're the, I don't know, maybe if it's either me or a lot of delegates as well, we feel that you're very unbiased towards when it comes to judgment, and so maybe that is the only reason people actually idolize you. So with so with that being said, Bhaya, our audience asked two questions. So one
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them
sure.
asked, um, so one asked how to get confidence for public speaking, and another one asked that in such a if a person is workaholic, how can they keep their mental health sane? I mean, what is your coping mechanism?
All right. Okay. Very good question. I will address the first one first, like the second one first, and then I'll go to the second one, which says that how to get confidence for public speaking. All right. The first one says that for a workaholic person, how to keep your mental health stable during the period of time, and asking on behalf of a friend. All right, friend or yourself. It's a very good question. Thanks for asking. There used to be a time that during my third and fourth year, everything that I'll be talking today, I'll try to give something that I can relate to, right? Not just by saying or seeing things. I'll try to give my personal experiences. So during my third year, I was going through a difficult time, and I was still trying to do MUNs on the weekends, do my classes. I had to teach students, and at the same time work part time as well. So I practically had no time for myself. So there used to be a time then I used to sit back and think that where my life is going, what my end goals are. So the first thing that I did, I chalked it down. My very first goal that I had to achieve was to get my undergrad done. All right. No matter how difficult the situation is, I had to get through with undergrad. So wasn't easy. It's easy for me to talk about it right now, but those 2 years were difficult. But again, so I chalked it down that what my priorities were. So the very first thing that you should be doing is, as a workaholic person, that you should chalk down your priorities. Number one, you should chalk down your priorities, because in my case, I had seen that there were things on my plate more than required, and there were things on my plate more than necessary. All right. So having said that, the second point that I would want to go to is, once you have your priorities set, then try to chalk down the things that you're doing are not important enough. All right, okay, I don't need to do it right now. আমি একটু 2 মাস পরে এটা করলে হবে. If there is something like that, offload it. If you have too much on your plate, offload it. All right. Having said that, offload korlam, prioritize korlam. Third, now see the things that's giving you the most amount of stress. For me, it was waking up 6 in the morning. All right. So, all right. So, because my classes were at 8, I had to be at uni by 8. So for me, it was so. Then start working from there. So for you to wake up, for me to be waking up at 6, I had to get at least 6 hours, 7 hours of sleep. So go to bed early, try to wrap up early. These were my solutions. So, but it can be different from different people. So find out the thing that's stressing you the most, and try to find a solution for that stress bearing work. That what can I do to make it ease down on me a bit. And trust me, this window of these little windows are something that will go all, or will take you long way. So once you have done that, now you have to find something that you need. All right, you have dealt with windows, now you need a door. You need a freaking door that you can take and walk through and you feel refreshed. Like for me, it was playing football thrice a day. All right. So find that particular thing that makes you forget about everything that you have to do for the rest of the week. All right. Everything for the rest of the week. Do it once, or it can be recurring by 3, it can be recurring by 5, it can be recurring even by 1. All right. But make sure you're living for something. All right. I learned it from a simple and a very private comment that I read about Steve Jobs once. There was a book, and what he used to do is, we all know that he became very big. He became a billionaire, if not a millionaire. What he used to do is, I read in his book that every Sunday he used to go to this Hindu ashram just to have a free lunch. All right. He used to go there just to have a free lunch. We can all ask that for a person who could literally buy anything, anytime, eat anything, anytime, it will be taken to his floor at his doorstep. Why did he do it? And then later, if you actually analyze it, that's the particular time during a week on Sundays. He used to forget about that he is the CEO of Apple. He used to forget about he has this to do, he has that to do. He used to be that particular person. He used to be just another person. So for even once a week, just be a normal human being. Live your life, even if it's for 2 hours. All right. Because we all need that. We all need that breathing space. All right. So, and there's nothing wrong if you're involved with something, involved with the work or something that you need a personal space. We all need a personal space from work, from studies, from anything that gives you a mental stress cloud. You need personal space from that. There's no denying that. There's no going about that. So that's what I used to do. Find a breathing space uh, during my week, at least for 3 days, and to find out that all right, and okay, now I'm done. Let's just gear up. Let's just work again. That's exactly how people, there are people who take trips. I take trips as well, but there are people who take trips frequently, like a month or two. They'll just go somewhere out of the country. They do their thing, then come back, then go back to the reality of life. But I think that breathing space is very much necessary to cope up with the mental situation, to cope up with the workaholic situation that you have, or we all have put ourselves in. Because previously Agehola, I used to consider that okay, he is probably working harder, she's probably working harder, she's struggling at her. But nowadays, now that I have met many people, I have heard many stories, I would say that everyone's struggles are very, very, very big in their own situations. All right. And as the struggles are different, I would say the solutions are different as well. All right. Whatever that had worked for me might not work for you, and whatever might work for you might not work for me. But so what we need is an in general perspective. And the in general perspective that I would like to conclude by saying is try to find a breathing space that during that time you forget about everything. You forget about who you are, you forget about what your work is, you forget about what you have to do, you forget about anything and everything at all. It can be once a week, it can be more than that, it can be even once a month. If you are that kind of person who can keep your focus once, just for an entire month, kudos to you. I couldn't. There are a lot of people who can't. So if you can, then pat yourself on the back, because you're doing yourself a favor, and also you're doing a commendable job. So just find the breathing space. One. And the second question was how to get confidence for public speaking. I think I tried to cover it before by saying that just first, very cliche things, but be yourself, and give the first speech. These are the two things that I could say that how to get confidence for public speaking. Yeah, give the first speech. And at the same time, what helped me a lot was uh, going through going through people on YouTube who are good public speakers. Right? How they talk, how they narrate things, when they raise their voice, when they dim it, and at the same time how they go around a topic, how they discuss. Just go through good public speakers. Find a good one that you really really like. All right. And go just follow him or her.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya. The stories were amazing. I mean, I
Yeah,
could
Lamia,
listen to those
I
Steve
think
Jobs
I'm
stories.
done.
Yeah. All right, Bhaiya. So, our we have this gaming session, Bhaiya. That is, we will be going to our gaming session. But before that, Bhaiya, why do you think like the works we are doing, like this English Olympiad thing? So, do you think the efforts we are putting here is actually going to enlighten our participants? I mean, what are your thoughts on
Oh,
this?
right, right. Well, Lamia, could you check your internet again, because you're cutting off. I cannot get you properly.
Yeah, yeah, Bhaiya. I said that. do you think the works we are doing from English Olympiad, like, organizing this national level, events for our participants, and we are basically giving them books and stuff. So do you really think these are going to enlighten our participants? What are your thoughts? Do you hello? Am I still live? I guess so. Someone asked how to get fluent quickly.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah, it's okay, Pam. So, do you appreciate our organization and the works we are doing? That's basically it. Do you think it's
so
going to
basically, you
enlighten
want
our young
me to
minds?
talk good about yourself. All right. Okay. I can do that for a minute or two. Okay. All right. All right. Two things again. I like to talk in numbers. I'll try to cover like two things. Two things. First thing first, that whatever you guys are doing at this particular age, the exposure that you guys are having at this particular age, not only the organizers, also the participants that and who are still trying to do something productive out of this quarantine. I should be learning from you guys because I couldn't do anything productive so far. But still, trying to stay proactive throughout your school years, throughout the years that we have wasted just by doing nothing and playing sports. So that means you guys are already doing something commendable.
Yes, Subha,
Number
thank
two
you.
is that whatever the thing that you guys will be providing with, I hope that you guys had been thoughtful enough to come up with an initiative as such so far, right? So I can only hope that whenever you're even trying to come up with a certificate or trying to come up with any goodies or hampers, I hope that you guys had been thoughtful enough to do something with that particular thought process and thoughts as well. So that's why I have every faith that whatever you guys have done or are trying to do is something that is not going to only help you guys and also the participants as well.
Thank you, Bhaya. So I'll be asking our background backup host to put the games on the screen. So we will have the fun session finally with Ashik Bhai right now. So if you all are interested, do please join.
Oh,
So ভাইয়া, এটা হচ্ছে টাং টুইস্টার। আপনাকে এটা হচ্ছে একটু তাড়াতাড়ি করে বলতে হবে। For example,
all right,
I'm
okay.
saying it two
I,
times.
I
It's
I might look
yeah, yeah,
old, but I know what tongue twisters are.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't. Fuzzy was he.
Again.
All right. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy. Was he?
Can we put the next tongue twister on screen?
All right. Fred fed Ted bread and Ted fed bread. Fred bread. All right. Fred fed Ted bread and Ted fed bread. Fred bread. Oh, come on.
Thank you, Val. So we have our next segment, that is turn the quote. So you'll have to speak, in favor of this topic for 1 minute, and for 1.5 minute, and then against for 1.5 minutes.
Okay. 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 Easy. Okay. Can I go?
Yeah, Bhaya, you can start.
Okay. First, I'll pick money because I'll again just I'll go to my personal life experiences as well. I suppose that a person with morals only goes enough, but a little push of that monetary and finances are very important. And at the same time, that without having that, you might not be able to do even half as good that you could have done if you had that particular amount. By saying that, what I mean is during this particular pandemic, right before it had began, we could see that there were people coming up trying to help other less fortunate and other people, right? Just imagine that you yourself are suffering, Will you be able to help the people in need? No. So I think that finances are very, very important as well. And there was one good quotation as well regarding this as well, that don't be a philosopher if you're not rich. You know, if and if all the philosophers that you see, and all the and at the Bill Gates, philanthropic, he's giving away all his money. Why can he give away all his money? Because he has that money. All right. Just imagine that. Imagine you don't have the money, but you have all the thoughts that you want to change the world. You have all the thoughts that you want to do good. You want to do work on gender equality. You want to work on all the pressing issues right now. Just imagine that, but you don't have the finances or the credentials to back it up with. You are just another person who is just screaming out in the smoke and nobody's hearing. So I think that finances are very important. There's no way, there's no way, of sugarcoating it, and you shouldn't either. Finances are important. At the end of the day, if you ask me as well, all the all the students, all the students, we are studying, or we are doing, we are doing our undergrad, we're doing our masters. It requires money everywhere. It requires money. But at the same time, why are you trying to study? Are you trying to study to become an honest and a better person? Probably yes. But at the same time, are you trying to be somebody who can have a better life? And by better life, we're judging, at least for the time being, we are judging by the amount of finance or the situation of your finances. So I think finances are important. There's no denying that. Okay, now I need to talk against it.
You'll have to talk against it now.
All right. Okay. Again, just imagine a person who has tons of money. We all know that particular person in our life. Let's not be kidding. We all know, if we look around, we all know that particular person who has tons of money, but he has no particular morals. So what's happening is that particular person, he's not only polluting himself, he's polluting the society. How? Because the younger ones, they would aspire to have the life he is. And also, he is giving the teachings that, that money is important. uh, Money is important, and you do whatever you need to do to get it. That's where the problem is. Getting money is not the issue. Making money is not the issue. Getting money is not the issue either. But how you're getting it is definitely an issue. If you're trying to rob somebody, if you're trying to get it by ill means, if you're trying to, then you're not doing yourself, you're probably doing yourself a favor, but you're harming the society, you're harming the neighbor, you're harming the people around you at the same time. So what we should be looking around is the bigger good. And if it's not doing anything better, if your money, your work, anything that you're doing, if it's not helping anyone beyond yourself, that means you're doing something wrong. uh, any knowledge that you have, any power that you have, if it does not help anyone else other than yourself and yourself only, that means that you're doing something wrong. So that's where the morality comes in, the moral issues comes in, that uh, everyone has a price, but at what cost? At what moral? What do you have to give? Somebody might be willing to do something for 5 taka, and you and I, we might even consider 10 times before doing it for that particular amount. So moralities are being bought these days, but at the same time, some principal moralities should be always there, in my opinion. And those principles are the one that should remain intact. And at the same time, those principles are something that we should live by. And having said that, I would conclude by saying that money is required, at the same time some principle morals are required to go by in this particular era. So what we should be looking for is a balance. By balance, again, being cliched, but what I see it is a a little differently. I would say that 30% of morals, 70% of money, not 50-50.
Thank you so much, ভাইয়া. So our audience asked quite a few questions, ভাইয়া. এখন এই কোয়েশ্চেনটা আমি ask করব কিনা বুঝতেছি না. সেটা হচ্ছে একজন ask করছে how to deal with sleep paralysis and hallucination.
See a doctor, see a
I have no
neurologist.
clue.
All right.
See, she's been watching a lot of ghost stories nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, brother. Sami, I don't know. Thank God, Alhamdulillah, I haven't faced a situation like that. If you're facing it personally, my condolences. But see a specialist who can help you with it as soon as possible, because it's gonna affect you in your near future for your work and everything. So just I would just suggest that see a specialist as soon as possible, because I hope I could help you in this, brother, but I can't because I don't have any personal experience. Neither I know somebody who's going through this. If I did, then I would be sharing with you.
Bhaiya, we have this another question. Smoke and kill. Okay,
Oh,
a nice username though. He asked that how to get fluent quickly. I'm good at English grammar and all that, but words don't come out while talking.
okay. Very good question again. Okay, and yeah, how to get fluent quickly? Nothing, just keep speaking. For me, what worked was standing in front of a mirror talking to myself. Cliched again, yes, but it did work for me. And another thing that used to work for me uh, is going watching a movie without subtitles, because what I get by speaking or learning a new language is I'm trying to learn Spanish now. So so the very first thing that we should excuse me but the very first thing that actually hinders the fluency and your ability to make it understandable faster and quicker is if you're hearing something very quickly as well. And if you're hearing it something for me, that's how it is. If I hear something quickly, that means I can deliver something quickly. So I'll just say that uh, start by turning off your subtitles, then go on, talk to yourself, talk to your friends, anything. Just and I have this delegate. Lamia knows him as well. I'm not gonna take his name, but he came up with this particular way, and I suppose it should work. And what he used to do is he used to make a clipping of his speech on his phone. We all have a phone nowadays, so he used to give take a random topic and he used to give a speech on it for nobody else, just himself. He used to keep it on his phone, he used to record it, and he used to challenge himself that okay, today if I have covered the same thing in 3 minutes, I'll try to do it in 2.5 tomorrow. So he had done it, and he improved it quite a bit as well. So I suppose you could try that as well. That was one innovative idea, at least if you ask me. But for the people who are, and as you say that you're good at English grammar and you're good in reading English, so you're already at five. So you just have five more stairs to cope up with. And I'll just say again, just keep talking. That if you're shy, I think that the fact that you even have this question means that you are shy. I'll just assume that you're shy to talk. You don't have the confidence enough to talk. So I'll just say that again, as I had covered initially, I'll just say that just start by talking today. If you just today, no tomorrow, no day after, just today, just go to the washroom right after this, stand in front of the mirror, just say something to yourself. I don't know, just tell yourself that smoking kills, but just say it.
Thank you, Bharat. So there's this one participant who asked both of us the question that is how to keep, what are the fun things to do in quarantine, Bharat? So before going on to you, I'll be saying that what I do as fun is I do watch a lot of series and I create lookbooks. I mean, I watched Elite few days ago, so I did this fashion lookbook of Carla. I mean, people will think I'm either cringy or what, but then I recreated this look from Gossip Girl. I know, very feminine thing. So that's what keeps me really fun, and I talk to my friends all day, all time. So moving on to that, Bhaiya, what are your fun activities that you are doing this quarantine?
Okay, first thing first, don't watch Elite. It's a very bad show. There are more things to watch than Elite, I assume. So don't watch it. And if you haven't, and if you have, my condolences. But yeah, having said that, we all know the usuals. We all know the usuals, like, watch a series, watch a movie, listen to your favorite songs, talk to your friends, like Lamia is doing, right? Uh, but if you ask me our Kotokon, I don't like it after 2 hours, 3 hours. I don't like it. And it's been almost 3 months that I'm stuck at home doing nothing. So what I did is personally that I downloaded a few apps, and I could share it with you. The first app that I downloaded was Duolingo. All right, the first app that I downloaded was Duolingo, and I picked up I thought of learning and picking up Spanish, and and I started taking it, just online material. There are enough online materials. All right, I didn't want to do online courses. I like I tried, but I failed miserably. If any of you are good at it, please do it for me. I'll pay for the certificate. But I suck at it. I suck at it because after 2 hours I don't feel like doing and concentrating. So, but what I always had a knack for is I always wanted to pick up a third or fourth language. So that's why I finally picked up trying to pick up Spanish and German, and uh, that's keeping me busy these days. And at the same time, what I'd been doing is I'd been going through a lot of documentaries, not just movies. I'm going through a lot of documentaries, like might be very relevant, might be something that you might not even ever need in your life, a knowledge that will, but I this is something that's keeping me up. That all right, okay, it's something that I didn't know, and if something that I don't know and something I find very interesting, I try to be inquisitive about it, and I'm being and that's what I'm trying to come up with why this tribe do it's this, why does that tribe kill people like that, and the most random videos. But I go through that and I'm trying to do that at the same time. And as I said at the beginning of this particular session, was I said at the very beginning that I'm trying to stay away from the news. If you ask me today how many COVID affected there are, I don't know. I did 7 days back. I did, but I'm trying to stay away from the news. And as I say, that it's not gonna do much harm if you don't know what's going on with, if you don't know what's going on in the world, at least for a month. If you ask me, it's okay. But because it started to every day 37, 37, 38, 41, 42, we started living in numbers, and like these many deaths, this many people are dying, this many affected. I don't know how much of it is true, how much of it is actually, is it exaggerated, or is it actually not given the right number? I don't know. And these are the questions I had been asking for first month, and I found myself repeating myself over and over and over again every day. And that's when I decided, all right, this is where it should. So something that I'm doing during COVID-19 and this quarantine, that I'm trying to stay away from COVID-19 as much possible, as possible, physically and mentally as well. All right, physically try to stay indoors and stay safe. Definitely the cliched ones that you guys already know, and you should be responsible, as I said. But mentally, I'm trying to stay away from it. Anything that has COVID-19 on it, I just scroll up. I don't want to know. I think I know enough, and I think most of us know enough what's going on. So I would say that right now, just live. And recently, as Jack Ma, If you guys don't know who that is, Jack Ma is actually the founder of AliExpress and Alibaba. All right, he has said that even for businesses, if somebody, if any of you have online businesses, anybody has anything, cash inflow or anything that's been getting harmed by due to COVID-19, don't worry about it, because even uh, like for Jack Ma, what he had said is like, oh, sorry, I distracted because I saw a comment and I'm gonna go back to that comment. Don't worry. He had said that for a particular business or anything for 2020, the goal should be to stay alive and stay healthy. And if you can do that, that means you have won the battle against 2020. So try to do that, in my opinion. And I'll go back to a question that Sanjeet Hassan Tanvir had, that can't keep track, but we do need to keep the stats to analyze the situation. I do get it that you need to analyze the situation, but in my opinion, I did analyze. I was being analytic of it for 2 months. Did it do me much favor? Not much. But if it's doing anything to you, or any if it brings any peace to you, again, by all means do it. But for me, that's I'm just sharing whatever I'm doing. I'm trying to stay away because I'm being analytic with my friend, যে আজকে এতজন affected হলো, কালকে এটা হলো, কালকে নাম্বার মেবি একটু কমতে পারে, এইটা হইছে ওইটা হইছে, then what? when it when it all ends someday, inshallah, or reduces and everything, you're gonna know eventually. And the big news is like the second wave might come, the lockdown and everything. Trust me or not, even if you're not trying to go through your phone, even if you're not informed, you will get to know these things, because we're living in an era that everybody is following. Every seconds are being tracked, everything is being discussed. So this the big ones you're gonna get to know. I do get your concern, brother, but the big ones, in my opinion, you're gonna get to know anyways. But the small ones, the analytical ones that we had been analyzing, that that this virus is not airborne, this virus can go this virus can do that, didn't do much help to me. In fact, I was inside a bubble where I was just going through stuff that discusses that, and that's why I'm trying to keep myself away from it as much as possible. So yeah,
Thank
learning.
you so much, Bhaya. I mean,
No, go ahead.
yeah. Oh, but before I go ahead, Bhaya, before you judge me for watching Elite, I would like to clarify that I didn't watch Elite only. I did watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I also watched Peaky Blinders. I also watched Grey's Anatomy, The Good Doctor, Lucifer. I mean, I watched some good series too. So before everyone in the comment section judge me for watching anything cringy, no, I don't. I also watch, series that are really helpful and fun. So, Bhaya, with that being said, one of our audience asked that how to make a habit, like subjects which you don't like, that are very boring, and but eventually you'll have to study them. So, how can you make that as a habit? It was asked by
Is there a
Minhas
way to make
Rahman.
something a habit that you don't like doing repeatedly, like study boring subjects? I'll take it as for most of the students, it's history, social science, uh, geography, right? And maybe if you're not into science, then physics and chemistry. I hated chemistry. So yeah, I do get it. So I'll just give you what I did. I took a shortcut. What I used to do is, I never used to do it repeatedly. I used to do maths every day. I used to study maths every day. Till this day, I have a copy and I give it to my students. It had every single maths of the O levels book. I had done it because I had so many free times. I didn't want to study anything else. So what I used to do is, even like the 2 + 3 is equal to 5, there like it was on my notebook. I had like, so I used to do everything. I used to do everything because I used to like that. And a subject that I used to hate was chemistry. So what I used to do is, I usually used to I can I can say on behalf of O levels and A levels. But so what I used to do is I used to solve a lot of question papers. So eventually, what you have to do is you have to sit for the exam, right? So what I used to do is I used to go through the topic as quickly as possible and find my problems from the question papers. I used to go right. I used to jump right to solving the question papers. So and what it used to make me do is it used to give me two things. It used to give me a confidence that, all right, I can solve a paper on my own. And the second thing that used to give me is a satisfaction that I don't need to study the book anymore. So these two things were very, very important to me. So that's why I find the subject and just study it for the test. And if there is something that you really like, stay with it, that's my and if there is something that uh, very bizarre situation, but suppose you really want to study computer science but you really hate maths, so that means that either you are choosing the right subject to study for future, or you need to work on your math. So there's no going about it. So whenever you're choosing your, I suppose that you find something boring because you have your interest somewhere else. So you have to do the boring parts as well. Even in university you'll have to go through GED courses. All right, even in university there will be courses that you just want to pass and just get done with. It's how it is. It's how education system is. We have to deal with it. So I wish that we had an education system that was inclusive and uh, we as students we could be asked that what do you want to study. And I wish imaginary scenario, a very perfect world where we could see that everyone is studying and doing a job of something that they have aspired to be. We can, even today we can see that most of the people, they are studying something but they're working in a totally different field. Why? Because probably right when you start your undergrad you have an aspiration to become something or do something in your life, right? But later on when you start actually studying in and later you find your new passion, you go towards that. So there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong about it. I'll just say that take it easy. Just the boring subjects, just study it for the test. The subjects that you really like, so try studying them harder and try learning new things out of it.
Thank you, Bhaiya. We will take one last question, and এই questionটা কেন জানি আমার অনেক বেশি ভালো লেগেছে, and it was asked by Mahima Kabir. So, Bhaiya, the question is, let me phrase it in completely in Bengali, because এই questionটা না, হ্যাঁ এটা exactly যে eagerly want to know how to take a difficult good decision for us in difficult time. I mean, why it can be anything, whether it can be a toxic relationship, a toxic friendship. I mean, I was very, um, I actually went traumatized because I had one toxic best friend who actually ruined my life. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I couldn't take the proper decision at that. So I couldn't take proper decision. I mean, I couldn't cut her off. That would have been probably a very good decision because she was inclining me towards the wrong track. But I couldn't take it because I'm very vulnerable, sentimental, and a very emotional person. I care about bonds and holding on. But at that very moment, it was for me, it was actually very necessary for me to cut her off. But I couldn't. So, how to take a difficult good decision for us in difficult times? So,
All
what was
right.
your coping mechanism or thoughts on that?
Okay, all right. Okay, and I see another question as well. I'm a student of class 11, started reading English books to improve my skills in English. Which book you want me to suggest? At your age, I started with Dan Brown's, because Dan Brown usually, all the books he writes are easy to read and easy to, and some Agatha Christie as well. And then later on, I would say go to Paulo Coelho and Alex Haley and stuff. But you can start with Dan Brown, because Dan Brown, the writing is sort of, I won't say kid friendly, but at the same time, I would say that the vocab and the literature term, a literary term that he uses to write in his book is something that most of the people who are not native English speakers, it's easier for them to relate to. So Dan Brown's, definitely Dan Brown's, and there are some really good Dan Brown books as well. Like there are total 7, I guess, if I'm not wrong. So just pick up one, you can start. None of it is continuation of the other like Twilight series. Stay away from Twilights. But yeah, you can any day you can pick Dan Brown and you can have some fun with it. Now I'll go back to the question asked by Mahima, right? So it's simple. It's not just this difficult time, this different time. It's not that. What one principle that I honestly try to cover in my daily life, regardless of the situation, this pandemic and anything, is I never try to make any decision when I'm angry. All right. Any important decision, I never try to take it when I'm angry, or I'm mad at somebody, or I'm mad at something. It's not all right. And this is I never try to make any decision at all when I'm mad at something, because I know that most of the times I'm going to end up taking a decision that I'm going to regret later on. All right. So as you have started it with, right, toxic relationship, toxic friendship, or anything. So I suppose that they all start. The toxicity always starts from a place where the two individuals are having a fight. So I would say that take a break, slow down, talk to yourself first, then talk to the other partner or the other person involved, then take the decision, or just don't say anything, that has an impact. আমরা রাগ করে অনেক টাইমে we end up saying something that holds the impact and that drags on the situation even longer, right? So whenever you're mad, you're really really angry, try to confine it within yourself. It's going to help you a lot. It's going to help you a lot in future as well, not just relationship, not just studies, not just in jobs, every sector. Because আমরা রাগ করে একটা কথা বলে দিলাম, we have said it, our action is done, our words are out, we won't be able to take it back. So you might feel it within from inside, but just because you have said it once, suppose রাগ করে xyz রে তুমি বলে দিলা যে হচ্ছে ইয়েতে you're this, you're that, blah 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 and whatnot, right? Can you take it back? No. Sorry is not going to take it or wash it away. It's not going to do it. Sorry or whatever you do, at the back of his or her head, it's always going to remain, oh acha tar mane this is how this particular person thinks about me. All right. So it's gonna always bring a taint. So suppose তুমি জানো যে এটা তুমি রাগ করে বলছো, or but it did come from within. So anything, for me personally, if I see that something is coming from within which is not right, which does not say it's right, again, some practice, I fail at times as well, but I genuinely do try to practice it with my life, is if I try to put myself in the situation that আমাকে যদি একটা এই সেম কথাটা একজন বলতো, আমার কি খারাপ লাগতো? যদি the answer is right, then I'll take 5 minutes to think about it. But at the same time, there are scenarios it's very very necessary that you take a side. Not taking a side is it's not always a good thing. Not taking a side is not always a good thing. Suppose আমি just recently নিয়ে বলি, ধরো এই যে everyone is talking about Black Lives Matter and everything, এখন কেউ যদি বলে my stands are neutral, আমি এটা নিয়ে কোনো কথা বলি না, my stands are neutral. So honestly, what they're doing is they are being wrong at the same time. So there are situations in life, there are topics in life you will face that you need to raise or have an opinion about. You need to have an opinion about no matter what. Either you're on this side or on that side. All right. So there will be situations on that. So at that time, again, try not to give any statements when you're angry. But if you must have to, then go with your gut, that whatever you truly believe in, something that you really believe in, not because, all right, that particular person is doing it, it's so cool these days, it's in, let's just go with it. Ask yourself and you know what, something that we all should be doing is we should be talking to ourselves a lot, a lot. You should be talking to yourself a lot, that, all right, what would I do if I was in this situation, this and that. You will see most of the times, 90% of the times, the answer will come from within. You will see that you already know the answer, what to do and what not. You already know it. You're just not dressing it. So I'll try to do that. I'll try not to make any statement or come to any conclusion, or even have a fight when I'm angry. And second, when I'm sad, I'm really down, I'm অনেক মন খারাপ, I try not to make any promises তখন যে আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ এটা করে দিব, this and that. Whenever you're very emotional, you're try not to try not to say anything that you might not be able to do it later. All right, there অনেক time হয় না, you don't like somebody, right? Yeah, but what you do is you see her in a very bad state, or him in a very bad state, and you feel bad. As a human being, you feel bad, but genuinely you don't like that person, or you have some sort of beef with him or her. But ওই time emotional হয়ে if you say something, and I'll be there for you, I'll do this, don't worry about it, this and that, and পরে তুমি এটা করতে পারলা না, in my opinion you're the biggest hypocrite ever. So that's why হচ্ছে, if you're emotional, try not to make any promises, or try not to console somebody by saying something that you truly don't mean. All right, because you're going to regret later on. So that's how I cope up personally. So it's not just because of this difficult time. This is personally something that I try to do with my friendship, with my relationship, with my work, everything. আমি আর শোনা যায় না রে।
Am- Um, unmute করতে হচ্ছে, I guess.
Okay.
Am I
Yeah,
audible now?
you are. Yes, what's up? Yeah, Mazbin, she's having network issues. Yeah. Oh, no worries, my Mo. Thanks for the good question. And
Hello, yeah, and
Hey,
I'm the
Chichi.
backup host. So uh, there has been some part of this session remaining. So this is the last topic.
Okay.
This is actually a PPDT. Uh, I don't know if you are familiar with this. The full form is Picture Perception and Description Test.
Right.
So so this is a hazy picture, and just you have to state some logics behind this, behind your identification, like what do you see here, and what is happening here actually. So you just have to tell about this.
All right. Frick. It's actually super, super hazy. I can see two people, and oh, I can see two people just trying to make a conversation. But it looks like by the picture, it looks like that they're trying to have an argument by the close proximity that they're in. So yeah, uh, my guess would be that it's two people having an argument.
Okay, there's the real picture. It's on the next slide. Okay, this is the actual real picture.
Oh my god. All right, way off, way off.
So
But
what
yeah,
do you actually think of the picture? Like, what is
So
happening?
this this is the PPDT bhaya. It means picture perception and description. So basically there is this
yeah,
another woman with whom he's
to
in an affair with, but his wife is telling him not to go over there, to not to cheat on her. So basically that's the whole picture.
all right, okay.
It defines what you're imagining, what's going on in your head.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. I got it. Uh, yeah, but by the haziness of it, I would just take it that two people are fighting, but I can see that two people are fighting, but I didn't see the third person involved.
So, Bhaiya, that was basically our game session and everything. So, Bhaiya, before we conclude our today's show, that is mental health and public speaking enigma, we would like to ask you and to give for our participants some pro tips to overcome stage fright and from where they can basically start. You know, the where they can basically embrace the nooks and corners of public speaking, of Model
Okay.
United Nations, debate, and
All
stuff
right.
like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I won't call this pro tips. I'll call this tips that or exercises that I did that helped me personally as a novice. All right. And later on this stage, I'll try to divide the tips for two different categories. All right. For someone who's starting out, for someone who's still for someone who's still thinking that all right, I have a stage fright, and for somebody who's doing it but who thinks or he or she they could do better. All right, so for the first group of people, the very first suggestion that I will have is talk to yourself. The second suggestion I'll have, whenever you're talking, if it's on a podium, try talking at the wall. Don't have any eye contacts with any other person, all right, in the room, because that's gonna get you startled. All right, so try talking in the wall. By that, it will give a deception that you are talking to the other people as well, but take it as you are talking to yourself. So that's why it's very important. For the second tip, it's very important to have the first one, that firstly that you're well rehearsed, and you have talked to yourself before over and over again. You have talked in front of a mirror, you have talked in front of an imaginary an imaginary audience, you have done those. So ওইটা যদি পারি, then you will be able to talk in front of talk imagining a wall. And if you can do that, then you'll see. And the third tip is not being narcissist or anything, but whenever you're talking, just consider যে ওই particular minute-টাতে, ওই particular second-টাতে, you know everything that you're saying and you know it best. These two things that gives you a confidence boost. Because I have the floor, nobody else has the right to talk right now. That means I'm the boss. আমি যাই বলি, even if I'm talking uh, how Harry Potter could have ended differently, people are listening. Even if I'm talking about Game of Thrones by taking the floor for something very, very, very differently, but people are listening to me for the 2 minutes. So, ওই 2 minutes consider yourself to be the king and queen. যে এই 2 minutes আমার, nobody has right. In this particular room, just consider this. You're inside a room, 50 people, 30 people, 20 people, whatever the number is. For 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes of their lives, they're doing nothing, absolutely nothing, just listening to you. Tell yourself that they are giving and wasting, even if I'm saying anything bad, irrelevant. So they are wasting their 5 minutes on me. That's how important I am. Make yourself feel important about it. All right. So these are the three things that you could do as
These are
some
the three things that you could do
as a starter. And for
All
someone who's
right.
like someone a bit intermediate, I would say there's no going about other than knowing whatever you're talking about. After you have mitigated the stage fright, you have dealt with the stage fright, the next stage comes where you should be well researched, well informed, because that's when first হচ্ছে যে আমার এই 5 মিনিট আমার আমি যা ইচ্ছা তাই বলবো, and second যখন you have reached that intermediate level, make sure যে এই 5টা মিনিট আমার, it's still mine. All right, it's still mine, but make sure যে এটা যেন waste না হয় আরেকজনের. All right, আরেকজন whoever who's listening to me for the next 5 minutes, just make sure that he's learning or taking something from it. That's what your intermediate level should be, that to make sense. But initially you are not required to make sense. You can do whatever you want.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya. আমাদের show এর time শেষ হয়ে আসছে, so we'll have to conclude it. So Bhaiya, আমরা অনেক a huge amount of response পেয়েছি, and actually audience are saying that you're pretty sorted. Thanks for the advice, Bhaiya. And then there's this one person who said, Bhaiya, no one could actually talk in such a sorted way that you did. And then we have this another live comment who said, you're pretty sorted, and thanks for all the suggestions and lots of love for you. So with that being said, we will be bidding goodbye to none other than our very own, the most the most reputed, our personal favorite, and the Man Lord, Ashik Mahmud Chaudhary Bhaiya. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. It was an honor for having you on our virtual show. So can we give up
Yeah.
the huge round of applause? I mean, virtual applause for Ashik Bhaiya. With that being said, people need to go and have their dinners, and I hope it was actually amazing. They could learn a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so
I
much,
hope,
Bhaiya, for coming to our show. And yeah,
I hope I
applause
didn't
from my side too.
I hope I didn't waste your time, and I
I
hope
didn't waste your time.
No, you were amazing. Thank you so much. In fact, I was actually learning a lot. যেগুলো আমি জানতামও না আগে. Thank you so much, bhai. It really, really means a lot.
take care, have a good time, have a good year.
Time, have
Take
a good
care.
year. Take care.
Goodbye to all the participants. Hope you guys have a nice supper. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.
Good night, guys.
Can we end the
Good night, guys.
good night, everyone?
All right.
Can we